Altenew has done it again, releasing an amazing collection of both timeless, classic, and innovative and contemporary designs. Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, I'll be sharing some of the latest Altenew release, which features some holiday designs, some gorgeous florals. There's crafty necessities like cardstock and inks. There's also glitter washi. There's just so much in this amazing release. So let's jump right into the card making, and I'll share the new supplies and let you know what they are as we go along. First, let's take a quick peek at the Craft Your Life project kit. This month's kit is called Mixed Blooms, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a bouquet of different types of flowers, which means you can use a whole bunch of different colors if you want to. There's also a die set in the kit that cuts out the main image and also cuts out tiny flowers and little stems. There's a 3D embossing folder for that main image, so you can get that in a embossed look, and there is a layering stencil set, so you can color in that main outline image without having to do coloring, just some ink blending. So first, I'm stamping the outline in Puffy Heart ink. I'm using my stamp wheel to hold the cardstock in place and then also my stamp in place, and I'll ink it up with that really gorgeous pink color, and I'll stamp it on an A2 piece of white cardstock. You can see I have it kind of tilted so it all fits on that one piece. There's a layering stamp, so I'm putting that second stamp on top of that first stamped image and picking it up with the stamp wheel. This time I'll ink it up with a much lighter color. This is strawberry ink. So there's a bunch of options in this kit. First, you have this layering stamp that you can color a two-tone image, or you could do a black outline with one color on the inside. It really gives you a whole bunch of possibilities that are a little bit different than what are normally included. I love this look. I think that is so gorgeous, and you could really do it with a whole bunch of different colors. In the example on the packaging, they do a darker blue and a lighter blue. This looks just as good too. I'm cutting out that main image, and then I'm using the extra die to cut out some tiny little white flowers that I'll use as embellishments. Just twisting this image around to try and get as much of it on the A2 card as possible. I'll stamp a sentiment that says "sending warm hugs" from the stamp set on some white cardstock, and then just pop that up on the flower, and then I'll use a little bit of liquid adhesive to adhere down those tiny white flowers that I die cut, and they just add a nice little white touch, but I thought I would finish them off with little centers made from the pink tourmaline gems. So quick and easy card with a really gorgeous floral design. This time I'm die cutting the image first, and then I'm placing it inside the 3D embossing folder. Next, I'll take one of my inserts from the stamp wheel and place it on my glass mat, and then place the cardstock negative piece on that stamp wheel pad. Then I'll place the positive piece that I embossed on top. The reason I do that is it just helps me line up the stencils a little bit more so that I'm not just ink blending all over the place and missing the image. So it just makes it a little bit easier for me, but you don't have to do that step if you don't want to. I'm first using some aloe vera ink to ink blend the leaves for this image. You can see I have a little piece of the satin masking tape at the top. That's that purple tape, because the stencil at the top wasn't hanging off the edge of the cardstock too much, so I didn't want it to move around at the top. And now, like I mentioned, because it's a bunch of different flowers, I'm using a whole bunch of different colors. I have wisteria and hydrangea. I also have some oranges and yellows, and I'm linking all the names of the inks down in the YouTube description box in my supply list so that you can check them out if you want. I'm using a combination of mini and micro ink blending brushes, and you can see it's pretty easy to line up these stencils over the image, especially once it's embossed like that. It just makes it a lot easier to pop them into place. And here's how that colorful image turned out. I really like that. It's just a different kind of floral, I think, than I usually work with. So here I have the sentiment that says, "Hello, gorgeous." It's another sentiment from the stamp set. I've stamped it on an A2 piece of white cardstock, but then I trimmed it down to 4 by 5 1/4 so I could pop it up on an A2 piece of white cardstock. I just really like the look of white popped up on white. And then I'll pop up the floral design on top and trim off anything that's hanging off the edge and add some clear enamel dots as a little bit of embellishment and some shine. I love this multicolor floral design that you can create with this kit. Next up, we have the berry branch. Now, the berry branch is a really easy layering die set to create a beautiful holiday design. You could also use this with other colors in the spring or fall, but I'm using it to create a definite holiday design. So I have paper bag for the actual branch, then I have crimson for the berry layer, and then I have parrot for the vine and leaf layer. So the vine and leaf is your bottom layer. It's like the thickest layer of them all. And then the berries go on top, and you'll see that the branches line up perfectly, and then the berries are going to hang off of what was already die cut for those leaves. It just makes it really easy. All you have to do is line up the branches and you're creating this multicolor look. So the last die cut that you'll add is that branch die cut. So I'm using just a little bit of liquid adhesive around all the little edges, especially of those branches, to make sure they stay adhered down and don't peel back up. This is going to go right on top. Now you can see at the bottom, at the base of that branch, that there is a thick part that all three go together. And that's how you start lining things up. And then you kind of go through each of the branches and just smoosh them all together. That's why liquid glue is really helpful here. And you just get them so that the branch and the berries and the leaves all show up in one die cut, one stacked die cut. It is so easy to put together, and it just creates such a beautiful look. I have a stamp set that I'm using that I'll share a little bit later in the video, and it has a happy holidays sentiment on it. So I did stamp it in embossing ink and then use some Altenew antique gold embossing powder. I've cut a white piece of cardstock down to 4 by 5 1/4 and matted it on some of that crimson cardstock. And now I'll add a little bit of liquid adhesive behind the stacked die cut all over the place so that I can make sure it stays down again. And you can just line up the branch, the edge of the branch at the edge of your card, and it really creates such a beautiful design. There are some other die sets available this month, like a cardinal that you can do that are a layered bird die set, and they go really nicely with this as well. But if you just want to grab the berry branch and some type of holiday sentiment, I think that is a gorgeous holiday card. This die set is called the Scandinavian Tag Die Set. It's got a tag as well as 2 different pocket designs. There's also Pocket Sentiments, a stamp set, and Pocket Sentiments die set. So that Happy Holidays that I used before is from that stamp set. I'll cut the tag out of the crimson cardstock that I've already used before, and I'll cut another tag out of the parrot cardstock. I wanted to show both of the little pockets. So you can see they have some elements cut out of them that creates a really pretty, almost doily look to them. They are really easy to put together. It's just 3 flaps, 2 on the side and 1 at the bottom, and you just fold them back towards the back of that tag, and that will create a pocket when you adhere it down, just putting adhesive on those flaps, not putting it anywhere else. Once I've folded everything, I do like to reinforce those fold lines with a bone folder. I like this one because it has kind of that flat edge on the back that makes it really easy to reinforce folds or score lines like that. I'm doing the same exact thing to the other flap, and then I place some adhesive on each of those little flaps and then adhere it down to the tag. I just used tape runner there, but you can use any adhesive you want. I decided to take one of those pockets and stamp a sentiment right on it. Of course, if you have the die set, you can cut it out, pop it up, whatever you want, but I did want to show how those sentiments do fit perfectly right on those pocket tags. Again, once I am adhering something down, I also like to reinforce with the bone folder. That just burnishes the adhesive right into that tag and pocket. I did cut another tag out of that parrot color and just decided to keep it blank so I could have it in the background. And then I added a little gift card into the Happy Holidays tag pocket and some twine at the top. Next up, we have the Festive Ornaments layering die set. There's one circle and one cap, but then there's 4 different layering designs that can go on top. So I'm using some of the glitter tape in turquoise sparkle, and I'm placing it at a diagonal on an A2 piece of white cardstock. And the great thing about tape like this is you can just fold it towards the back and it will make a nice edge on the sides that's covered in the tape as well. I love this color. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the glitter is amazing. It stays put and looks phenomenal. I used the circle die in the set to cut out a circle from Lagoon cardstock, and then I cut the top layer or the decorative layer out of a silver cardstock. I also cut the cap out of silver cardstock. Now you can see the cap actually has a little hole at the top that you could actually put string or twine through. I'm stamping that Happy Holidays stamp sentiment at the bottom right corner of this card, and I did have to stamp it twice. That is what is great about the stamp wheel, that you can keep it in the exact place you need it and it will stamp perfectly every single time. And pop up that ornament, and that's all you need for this card. That is so much interest that's added so easily. I'd love to hear if you had a favorite today. Let me know in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Florals. What are we doing? Are we showing as we go?